G'day, Hugh here from videsign.com.au, a design company based on the Gold Coast in Australia, and thank you for joining me. Today I thought we'd have a look at how you can use Photoshop to remove those pesky wires that sometimes appear in photos. You might be up high somewhere where you can get a great shot, but there's wires that come across your shot and they really do spoil that shot. So let's get into Photoshop and I'll show you how you can get rid of them. Okay, so here we have a photo of Dubrovnik taken from up on the hill above it. And to get up there you have to hop on these cable car, and it goes up on these wires, and these wires are really, spoiling the shot we have here of the city of Dubrovnik and the Adriatic Sea and the sun going down. So we're going to do a bit of work on getting rid of them, but first of all we'll go through our normal workflow for Camera Raw to improve and retouch the photo. So we'll bring down the highlights and open up the shadows, increase our whites, reduce our blacks, add a bit of clarity and a bit of vibrance and a bit of exposure so that we're nicely exposed, and a bit of contrast. Okay, so now I'll grab the ruler tool and that will straighten up our horizon. So you can rule across and it will straighten it up for you. So we have a nice straight horizon. In fact, it is curved because of the curvature of the earth, but it is in a nice straight line now. So now we can just grab our graduated filter and we'll do a reduced exposure from the horizon and hold shift down so we're straight. We will gradually come down to about halfway through the sea there, perhaps about there, and what we'll do is we'll just bring that exposure down in the sky. Now we might not have it entirely coming into the ocean there like that, so somewhere around there. Click OK. So you can see what we've gone from and to. Now we'll have a look at also just brushing in some elements to this. So I think we can add some exposure into parts of the photo here. So if we get a brush, and we'll probably make the brush size about half that size, so about 10, and just brighten up parts of this city here that we want to improve, like so. And then we'll do a new brush and we'll add some clarity to these rocks in the foreground. Now we've got a bit of a haze going on in the further away part of the city, so what we'll do is we'll add a new brush, we'll dehaze just the part of the city there that's looking a bit hazy. Okay, and now what we can do is we can come into a new brush again and we can add in some saturation and a little bit of bluer for the water. Let's get the sea looking nice and blue. We need to add a bit of saturation and a bit of blue in there. Like so. Now if we have this off and on, we can see the difference between it. Okay, so that's a few adjustments there. We can still do a few more. I think I just might do one more, but the wires are the most important part of this, so we'll just bring down the exposure through there, and warm it up just a little bit too. Just get a bit of a contrast there. Okay, so we could do a bit more work on that, but at this stage we're just wanting to improve our overall image to begin with. We could put a vignette in, we could work on the hue and saturation, you know, we could just improve the greens, and a bit of the aquas as well, maybe a bit of the blue. Overall, gives it quite a nice look. Okay, now we'll open up the image in Photoshop and let it go through its paces to get there. In a minute it will be done. Right, so we've got some pesky wires that we want to remove. Now this is by no means an easy job to do, but there is a few little tricks that we can do. Now we want to use the healing brush. Now we want it to be pretty small. I've got it set at 17. And we want the type to be content aware and the mode to be replace. So we can click on the start of a wire and hold shift down and click on the end of the wire. And you can see there our healing brush goes all the way down in a straight line. So that has removed that wire. Now you can see there's some imperfections, but we can get into working on fixing them down the track. But we still want to work on these wires. So I'm going to stop at the hill for this one. So click on the end of it and let it do its thing. And another one here. So I'm clicking on the end of it, the last point I want to edit out, and I'm holding the shift key down and then clicking. The healing brush works its way down. Content aware is trying to replace what it's taking out with what is behind or either side. So again we come down to about there. I'll go all the way down on this one to the top of the hill there. Again, this wire, holding the shift button down. This one to there. And this one is a bit of a tricky one because of the sun, but we have got rid of it there. Now, I'm leaving the stuff on just concentrating on the wires over the sea at the moment. So we got the rest of this one. Now I'm zoomed in to a level that I can easily work on the wires with. So you need to zoom in quite a way, but not too far, because you need to be able to work on as much of an area as possible at a time. I'll just edit out these. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to concentrate on fixing up some of this sea that we've edited out. Now if we wanted to work on the land now, we can. It's obviously much more intricate than the sea, but it requires less actual work to fix it up as well once you've taken it out. But there will be little bits in there that you might want to work on. Now it's unfortunate that there were so many wires and they're not all sort of in a straight line like you would get with some overhead power lines. But you can, as you can see, remove them and then do a little bit of further work on your image. So I'm just going to get rid of all of them, because they are very invasive and dominate the photo, really take attention away from what you want to show in your photo, and that's the beautiful view. Now these are a lot harder to follow because they get caught up in the buildings, but you get the drift there. Where they are, you can remove them, and you can see other small amounts to remove. Now, it's overall done a reasonably good job. What are we at? We are at 50% zoom. So we've done a pretty good job there of removing a lot of the wires, but we still want to improve some of this area here. So what you can do is click on the clone stamp, have a brush size that you can work with, and here I probably will zoom in further, and you can see here where wires have been removed and the content of where has smudged things a little bit. So using the clone stamp and a brush size that's going to fit within your framework, you can choose an unadulterated area by using the Alt key and targeting a good part and then cloning that on top of the bad areas. So where there's a wave in there that's not been smudged, you can clone back in good C. Now it's not overly noticeable. We're at 200% here. I mean, it's not perfect, but for the purposes of a tutorial you get the idea of what's involved. Now this literally takes hours depending on how precise you want to be, but it's all part of photo retouching and improving a photo. So you get the idea there of cloning and stamping. Basically it's what you're doing. You're taking a piece that's a small piece that's right and putting it in over a piece that's not right, and it removes imperfections. So there's imperfections from where we removed the wires. So I'll just zoom back out to fit screen. So you can see, you know, up here it's not quite how we'd like it as well, so we can get the clone stamp. And I mean, up there it's not actually too bad because it's pretty abstract in the sky anyway as it is, but you might want to just do that sort of work. You know, you could even join this cloud back up with itself, like so, where the wires have cut through it, and it's very noticeable there. So you can clone, puts that cloud back in, so it looks a bit less like the wires were there, even though somebody won't know that if they're seeing the photo for the first time. You know it, so you want to get rid of it. So you keep on doing that through different spots where the wires have been removed but are still causing you problems. We could be here all night doing that, but you know, I would definitely work on, you can see a line through there, the smudge through there, and all through there, and on the horizon there. So, you know, you'd clone this bit, and you manage to get it in to straighten back up the horizon again. It's very tedious, but it is worthwhile doing considering what we had to begin with. So we could then just do a little bit of work on the overall image as well. Whilst you're at it, you know, you could do some work on the levels if you wanted. Depending on what look you're after. But the wires are gone. We have a photo of Dubrovnik from above. We could sharpen it up a bit, but the wires are gone. So by using the healing tool, holding shift down, clicking at the start of the wire and the end of the wire, making sure that your healing tool, which is this one here, so you've got spot healing, healing brush and patch tool, making sure that you've got it on replace and content aware, your brush size is small enough that it can cover the entire wire, but not too small so it's got the wire either side of it, and not too big so it's taking up too much space, but enough to cover the wire. And if you hit shift, click at the start and the end, it will erase it in one foul swoop for you, just so that it all is gone. So I hope you get the idea of removing wires by using Photoshop. It's quite a powerful way of doing it, and it really will improve a photo taken from a nice spot which has been wrecked by those wires going through it. So you spend a bit of time fixing up all the imperfections, and you'll end up with a really cool photo. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and you'll join me next time for another tutorial. Until then, I'll see you later.